Welcome to our 17th webinar in the series. Today's session is all about the smarter project management within MARKUS. Essentially, how can we help you with your project management through the different tools that we offer within MARKUS. So just to elaborate more on what today's session is about, how we can help you manage projects and recurring works, enabling you to plan your workload more efficiently, how to manage recurring works. So I'll use the term work plans for that side of things, but there are other mechanisms for that, but also getting a better visibility across your projects. And essentially it's when we go into our client premises and sort of help with this sort of thing, we do see often, for certainly the larger scale works and the planned works and the cyclical works, lots and lots of spreadsheets, lots of SharePoint folders, shared drives, Google Drive, calendar reminders, WhatsApps, and all sorts to help manage all this stuff. So we're looking to help make all that easier for you. And hopefully the demo I'll do today will give you a bit of an overview of how we can help with that. Now, there may be some things that you see today that you'll need getting set up in your system in order for it to work, because you might not have the menus. But the things that we're going to cover today to help you manage projects and these sorts of works are the tools that we have, such as splitting a job, projects, work plans, scheduling for multiple assets. So we've got a few tools that we can use to help with all this. So I'm going to start with my first demo, which is for splitting of jobs. Now, splitting a job is a really straightforward way of just helping you split out what might be quite a large job into manageable chunks. Now, I covered this in my very first webinar, which is actually on YouTube. It's the very first one we did. So if you go into our webinars playlist, it's in there at the end of that video. We did two parts to it. So in webinar 1, it was about the 9 minutes 55 seconds. So sort of 10 minutes in, I started to talk about split jobs. So I'm not going to go into it in a massive amount of detail today, but I wanted to remind you that it's a tool that you can use. And what you can do with split jobs is you can use these to divide a largest job into smaller work orders. And usually it's used to manage different trades and the distribution of work to the correct workforce or the correct people with the right skill sets for the job. If I take us into my demo system, I've got a rather handy dashboard widget here that, if you've not got this set up on your dashboard, you can find it in the personalize options down here, but it's for watched jobs. So because this is a demo, I wanted to get quick and easy access to this job because it's a job that I wanted to demonstrate for you today. So I've pinned this one into my watched jobs. And this is something that we've got a couple of our customers using to great effect, where you've got maybe a project manager who has got to keep their eye on a selection of jobs, and they can do that through the My Watch jobs. They can see the details of what it is, and you can very quickly just go straight into your job. So this job has already been split. The job status itself is at multi-status, and the reason for that is because we've got here, you can see the work orders that have been created by splitting the job. So you can see I've split it into a glazing task, a groundwork task, and then a joinery task as well, where this one is complete, this one's issued to an engineer, and this one's awaiting allocation. So the status is multi-status. The moment that these all form the same status and they are, or say for example, if we were to put this back to awaiting allocation, this would go to awaiting allocation now because this one's done. And what we do is we display the most live status if they're grouped together. So this is really handy. We can split jobs really easily using the split job button. What I'm going to show you is if we wanted to, let's say, import, as I have here, a lot of SOR codes onto the job. Now, you might not work in SOR codes in your place, but if you do, then you'll know, certainly for maybe a larger job such a void refurb, you might have quite a lot of SOR codes to add to a job that could have come in from a client spreadsheet or on a document from the client. So really quickly, to get to this situation here, I'm just going to raise a quick job for our Epics Housing Association here. So we've got ourselves a job sheet. And if we wanted to split this into different work orders, we could do, but we could also import a series of SOR codes. So we can do that. And again, I did this on one of my previous webinars. So if I just grab my file for you, we've got a spreadsheet with a series of SOR codes and the quantities that we need. Now, there is a video on this. You don't need me to go into how I put all this together. But essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to step into our sales lines and I'm going to bulk import this file. So I'm just going to drag that onto here and I'll upload that. And what that has done is that has now uploaded all those codes that were in my spreadsheet to this job. So when I hit continue, that saves our job. So we've now got an estimated sales value here of the total of the SOR codes. And when I come to split our job out for the different trades, then what I could do is I could do a random sort of glazing works job description for the glazer with a target date of today. And then all I'd do is I would walk down the SOR codes that I wanted to give to that engineer. So I'll just go with those two for now. And then I hit continue. That's now created a work order for the glazing works, where we can see in our list of SOR codes, we've now ticked off the ones that have already been split, so you're not going to get confused. If I wanted to add a groundwork job, I can do that. If I spell it right, there it is. And then I can start going down the SOR codes, picking out the ones for the groundworks and so on. So you can see there, I've got 3 ready to go. If I hit continue, we've now got a job with 2 work orders. Now obviously you'd continue to split that, but on our main job, you can see here, we've got the 2 work orders ready to go. And in the glazing works job, we've got just the codes we need, and we can issue that out to our engineer. That is a really handy way of managing a multi-trade job on what could be, a lot of people describe as small works or planned works, but say for example a void refurb, could be a kitchen replacement, could be a bathroom replacement, could be building an extension to a house. Anything where you've got multi-trades attending, doing different tasks, where you might want to split those jobs out so that when the engineers get the work, they're only working on the bit that's relevant to them. Split jobs, really handy way and a basic form of managing a smaller project. Our next demo is, there's no slides for this, I'm going to go straight into another demo for this, and that's using our projects module, which some of our customers use to great effect. I'll do this in my demo system again, the one I was just in, so I'm just going to refresh everything, go back here. So we have customers using the projects module to manage large scale projects, and also to manage where you've got, say, PPMs, the planned preventative maintenance at a single site, where you've got perhaps many visits per month or per year. So it's a bit like a split job, but what you get is that you get a cover sheet which allows you to split the jobs even further. So you have the overall project, you have essentially normal jobs residing within that project, and then you could even split those jobs down even further. And so what I'm going to demonstrate this for on today's demo is a scenario where perhaps you might have a large site where you might be doing planned maintenance across a year, where you might be attending weekly, monthly, sometimes twice weekly, whatever, where you've got a lot of multiple trades and a lot of jobs going on where you need to manage them all in one place. But the key thing is it's all against the same site. So I'm going to do this for a university campus building, because that's what we've got set up in our demo. But this could be something like a shopping centre, where you've got something like the Trafford Centre in Manchester, where you're going out and you're doing a lot of works within maybe the communal areas of a massive shopping centre. Could be a huge warehouse facility, if you imagine something like the Amazon distribution warehouse, where you've got to go in and service the fire alarm every week and check the smoke alarms and check the emergency lighting and the roofing and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to demonstrate this one as a university campus. So I'm going to start by creating a project. Now, again, just to reiterate, if you don't have these menu items in your system, please ask us. We can turn these on for you and enable them on a user-by-user basis as needed. And you can also have a play around on your test systems with this too, rather than impacting on the live data. So if I start by creating a project, the customer I'm going to use is the University of MARKUS. And the site, I've got 2 sites, and I'm going to do it for the main campus building. The site, again, you can break down further if you've got addresses switched on or assets. So you can see here we've got things built into the main campus, but I'm just going to say this is for the main campus. And it's linked to my annual PPM contract. Now, of course, if you had multiple contracts there, you'd be able to choose those yourself. And I'm going to create my project and call it Marcus 26. Project title is the annual PPMs for 2026. This project, particular one that I'm going to do, I'll just start it now and I'll end it the sort of same time next year. And we could obviously extend this for as long as you need it to run. I'm not going to talk to you about project templates at the moment because I want to just show you the main thing. There'll be a separate sort of YouTube video all about that when we get around to doing the one for specifically for projects. But how to get a project on the go is really straightforward. You just need some basic information. So if we press continue, that will create the project. And the next stage of this is to add your jobs to the project. So you can add all the different jobs and the different tasks that go into this project manually by filling in the fields here, which you can see are a cut down version of entering a normal job. And all you do is you complete those and add the job and just keep going for the number of jobs that you need. However, you can also import jobs from a file. This is a spreadsheet that I've mocked up and I've used with other clients to manage this sort of thing. And so to give you an idea of what this spreadsheet's all about, this is, again, could be in your own format and completely up to you how you do this. But what this is showing you is a list of PPM tasks across a date range. So you can see I've put the month down here, dates and so on. I've given them all job numbers. And this is the import format that you need actually for our job import. So you can see our job descriptions here. I've got them split up for monthly tasks. We've got a 6 monthly PPM task. We've got a fire alarm system check. We've got gas and boiler systems. We've got the fire extinguisher servicing, drainage checks and the waste systems and so on. But I've also got some jobs at the end to invoice for all this as well. So what I've done is I've created a big list of all the jobs that have to happen in a year. And this spreadsheet's ready to go. So when we come to renew it next year, all we have to do is change the dates on it and we're good to go again. There's our SOR codes that I've put on the jobs so the engineers can tick off what they've done. But also, because we've set up a trade of invoicing and a job specifically for invoicing, we've got the values set here for the quarterly invoices that we're going to charge our customer. So what I'm going to do is once I've built this spreadsheet up, I'm going to take these columns here and I'm going to paste them into a separate file because these need to be a CSV file. To show you what I've done there, I've just pasted all that information into a brand new spreadsheet and I'm going to save that on my desktop so I know where it is. And that needs to be a CSV file. So when I bounce back to our system now, I can go and I can import my CSV file like so. And what that's done, as you can see here, is it's added in all those jobs into the system against our project. So when I hit continue, I can flow through some different stages of this wizard as well. There's activities we can set up, which again I'll discuss on another video. And you can keep going and the project has now been created. So if I step into our project to show you what this all looks like, you get a nice cover sheet. So if you're used to working in our refrigeration system, say the asset management system, you'll be possibly used to seeing this particular layout of the sheet before because we have this for that side. If you've not seen this, it's essentially the cover sheet for the project. And so in here, we can see reports that we can run. So I can click on that and it'll show us the details of the project, its estimated value. I can bring in all the jobs, as you can see there, they're all set up ready to go. And we've got a financial section as well, which shows us the estimated values. And as you start doing work on all this, all those financial values from within individual jobs cascade upwards here into the financial summary. But of course, because this was a massive job, loads of different trades, all these different tasks that we've got to do, it would be a really boring thing if I was to go through and edit all those. So I'm going to do a bit of a Blue Peter moment for you and find an existing project that I've already set up to show you for today. So in our project sheet here, for the one that I've already prepared, if I just load in a few of these things for you, you can see the project jobs. We've got some complete, some at status issued, so they're out in the diary for the engineer, various ones that are awaiting allocation, and you can see a bunch of them are complete, and even the invoicing ones, a couple are charged. So if I was to click into the financial summary, this is the sort of good stuff you get to see on your projects once you've got going. So you can see the overall estimated sales value of the overall project. Because we've already invoiced a couple of the things on it, we've invoiced this much. We can see the labour costs for our engineers that have been out and done some work on site. We can also see any values of any purchase orders, which could be orders for materials, or it could be subcontractor purchase orders as well. And we can see our nice little profit summary here that every time something changes on any of these jobs down here, this chart gets updated there. So if you're going into a meeting with your managers and you need to report on the status of your project that you're running at the moment, then you could go in with the system open at this page, ready to go, and you can show them the information. And if they wanted to see any information about sort of where the detail comes from, you could take them into any of the project jobs and show them the work that had been carried out. So back to our little presentation now. I'm conscious I need to move on to our next tool that we have in our arsenal, which is the work plans. So you'll have probably heard work plans mentioned. We have got a facility for work plan, and really what these do is they're a way of collating jobs together to help you manage your cyclical works. So things like boiler servicing, the landlord's gas safety checks that have to happen, the annual boiler servicing, those can be managed within work plans. You can manage your electrical tests in there. You could manage smoke alarm checks, a whole bunch of things you could use this for, but essentially what it does is it allows for automatic job creation if you want that. It allows you to create batches of jobs in bulk, but also issue those to engineers in bulk as well. And part of that process is it does also allow you to create letters. So if you're sending an engineer out to do a whole series of gas servicing, you can send letters out in advance advising the tenants that you're coming out to see them with the date that you decide to put on the appointment. Now, there are a few setup requirements to this. You can't just start using it. It does require a little bit of data setup, and if you've never had it set up before, you'd probably want to ask us to help you with this. But you've got what is known as a work type, which is the task or the type of work or the work stream that you're going to be doing and managing within the work plans. So people often set these up as things like annual electrical checks, annual boiler servicing, things like that, the different work types. Then you need to link your contracts in the system to those work types. And also assets or sites or properties also need to link up to those work types as well. So there's a lot of data relationships going on within the data that you have set up, but it's all really easy to set up once you've done it, and it's all done within the client wizard. So if you're used to using the client wizard to set up sites and assets, it's quite straightforward once you're shown how to do it. Some of our customers use this for a whole host of different things. We have had a customer using it to manage the grass cutting of some local authority green spaces in the summer months, where once the job is done, so you go out and you do your day's mowing, the next job is automatically generated for 2 weeks' time in the system. So then whoever's doing the issuing of jobs out sees that job and issues it out again for the next time they need to go and do the cutting. And that's one way of doing sort of this automatic job creation that I mentioned earlier. And the annual gas servicing as well, or any sort of any mandatory checks like that, the system knows when the previous job was done, and you can then schedule the next visits based on the previous time you went. Without further ado, let's bounce into another demo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start from scratch by creating a new work plan. So I've got my work types already set up, the data's good to go. What I want to do is I want to create a plan for our electrical testing, let's say for a housing association, the job description. So when you create your jobs from a work plan, this description field is the job. It's what goes on the engineer mobile app to say what they're doing. So you can be as descriptive as you need to be. So I'm just going to leave it for that for now. And this will be an electrical job, and we can set a priority for this sort of thing as well. So I'm just going to set this at a random 10 working day priority. But this is going to be the EICR 2026 work plan, where I'm going to link this to the work type of EICRs. And let's say we're going to start this today. It's going to run for a year, where the number of checks, the interval is 1 per year. So we want 1 check each year. I'm going to choose create all jobs now. I mentioned about the automatic job creation. There's these options here which allow for that automatic creation to happen. So the example I mentioned, for example, about the grass cutting, where it was to be created the next job after you'd completed the one that you've just done, that one will do that function for you. But we want to have a bit more control over this. We want to create our jobs ourselves or add them to the plan ourselves. So if I hit continue, that's now created our work plan. The ability to add properties onto that work plan is the bit that comes next. And we're going to manage the jobs, or rather the site that we want to create jobs for. If I go here and I wanted to say an operative visit, I want to use my EICR 2026 work plan, and I want to give this guy 5 jobs a day for that work plan. So I want him to do 5 tasks, 5 EICRs per day. So I hit continue. What we then show you is his availability for the week, and you can see he's completely clear. We're about to give 5 jobs per day. We can redistribute these in a moment, and I search for our properties, and there they all are. And I can search through all these. I can link up by postcode. I could get them in the right order, so you can sort them by postcode that way or that way. And you could basically go, all right, okay, we'll give him these ones from the top of the list, or you could filter by region and identify them that way. So I'm just going to go with the 5 now, just for a small demo. So I'm just going to hit add, and that's now scheduled our work. So when I hit continue, we can then see that they are logging them all on the same day. I tweaked my dates, by the way. That's why they're showing all today, because we can't issue back in the past. So here's got ready to go, and I can move them around if I needed to. But if I then hit continue, can link all these back to our EICR contract. And then away we go. That's now scheduled them in. But what we've also got the option to do is we've also got the option to generate communications. So you could generate a letter to send out to all your tenants. So let's say I want to do all of them, and I hit generate. That will put together a nice letter from you with your client logo, and this has been indented so it fits nicely in a windowed envelope. And you've got your name of your person who you're going to see and all the details of the confirmation of the appointment, and you can see there the date and the slot that you're going as well. So you can do a letter, as you can see here, there's property 2, 3, 4 and 5 and so on. So you can do bulk letters for hundreds of properties in one go from a work plan. So really handy. One of our clients that uses this, they generate that file, and the batch PDF file that's created, what they do is they then send that to their printers, who then manage the whole lettering process for them, and they get posted out to the tenant. So bearing in mind, if you are doing that, then the work plan would need to be scheduled a little further in advance than the same day. You'd be scheduling for at some point in the next month, so it gives you a chance to generate the appointments, send the letters, and the tenants to come back to you if they're going to say they're not around and the appointment's not convenient. The other way of doing this, which I'm not going to demonstrate now because it's basically the same process, but is you would import the jobs instead. So this is the traditional method of our work plans, where you would generate the jobs from a plan. So you're using the plan to say, generate me these jobs now for these properties. Well, the other way you can do it is to fit in quite often with the way clients work, is that the clients might send you the properties that you need to do. So if they're going to send you a batch of 300 properties that they want you to attend, They could send those over in a spreadsheet. You could import the jobs, and then you could add them to the plan using the process you just saw where we schedule them up for the days of the week. And you import those. There is a YouTube video all about that, but you would import them just as jobs using the spreadsheet importer that you can find on your dashboard here. And it is just done in exactly the same way, where you would generate a file for the generic job importer and import them that way. If you want to learn about that, there is a separate video all about how you import jobs using that method. Finally, we have another mechanism of doing our scheduling, if you like, and this is using our asset scheduled maintenance. And so this really is something that you would be familiar with if you work in a refrigeration air conditioning environment where you've perhaps got multiple assets on a site where you've got different maintenance schedules for each of these assets. So I'm going to demo this in our refrigeration system to give you an idea of how it works. But basically, this is really ideal for where you've got monthly visits as sort of the max frequency. If you're attending site weekly, or certainly more than once per month, then using this mechanism is not as effective because this generally will work for the monthly view. What you'd end up having to do there is issuing out the monthly job more than once. People that attend site weekly and do on-site jobs where you're out there more frequently than monthly tend to use the project module, which you saw before, where you would import loads of jobs in one big list and you would get them distributed as normal jobs, not from this mechanism. But this is really, really good for the monthly things. So I'm just going to start by creating a maintenance schedule. And I'm going to do this for our demonstration site of the bakery, where the contract, I'm just going to stick it on our planned maintenance contract. And I want to go to the main site. So we can choose when we want our period of maintenance to run from. So you could set this up in advance, ready to go, say for the 1st of September, that would be fine. I'll go with today. We hit continue. Now, because our system is an asset-based system, you can see here in this grid view, those assets are all refrigeration and air conditioning assets that exist on this site. So if you've got asset lists and you're going out doing maintenance on actual assets where you've got them recorded against the site, this is brilliant because you get that listed. Within the system, you can see that you've got the number of visits that are required by that asset for the planned maintenance in that year. So this one here, this one needs 4 visits a year. This one just needs 1. This one needs 2. And so our system has plotted in for you, based upon the start date of when you said this schedule goes live, when those assets need doing. So we've distributed them evenly across the year. That's not to say you have to stick to that. You can move them like so. You can move all of them. So let's say, for example, you don't want to go in July at all. You'd rather go in August. You can do that as well. Once you hit continue, this will create a job list for each of the different visits that are required. So if you remember, some of the assets had 4 visits a year, some had 2, some had 1. So what we've done is we've said the ones that are due in July, so if you remembered I ticked everything to go in July, that's your job description. So you can overtype this. This is the job that's created for the engineer to do the work and the job that you'll see in the back office when you actually create the job. So you can rename these, but you can see these are the site services for the different months. They're all linked to a maintenance trade, but if you split your jobs up differently and you were maybe looking at the heating trade for one and the refrigeration for another, you can change that. And you can also link different ones to different contracts. So one of our customers does this. They've got one for a cleaning contract versus a maintenance contract. And so all the cleaning work gets put on the cleaning contract. But generally speaking, you would link it to your planned maintenance contract, which is what I'm doing. So I'm just going to rattle down that. This screen is actually an optional screen. It doesn't have to be on, but I'd like to leave it on to demonstrate the true potential of this particular setup. So if we press continue, we can also confirm a billing schedule as well. So because we've got a value to our maintenance, it's already put that value in. That's set against the different assets so that it knows annually what you're going to do. So I'm just going to put a billing reference in and I'd say generate that today. We can issue our work out straight away. So for the very first jobs, it'll give you the first job in the list and say, do you want to give this out now? You can do, of course you can, and this just uses our traditional issue job screen. However, I'm not going to issue it for now. So this looks a little bit like our project sheet, just with fewer details. If I click on that, you can see the details of what we're doing. It's the site there and the number of visits against the number of items that we're going to actually service. We've also got in our service jobs list the jobs that we've got to do. So if I click into a job, say for the first one there, you can see it's awaiting allocation. We can issue it, and on this job you can see the related assets that we'll be servicing. We've also got our billing report there, which you can see I added one, which was that EP123 invoice, and we can send that invoice off just by clicking in there, and that just loads the invoice sheet. If you needed to start again and redo the entire thing because you'd made a mistake, we allow you to do that. And we also allow you to make quick edits to some of the assets as well. So say, for example, you made a mistake on this one here and you want to add some more assets in, you can do. You just tick these away and they will add themselves to the visits, so that when you issue the site service for September, you'll get the assets shown on the mobile device for the engineers. And when it comes around to renewing this for the next time round, hitting clone allows us to create a new schedule. So let's say I'll start this one running from September just for ease. Away we go again. You can see the first date is scheduled in for September and everything else has been plotted in. This will now, if you hit continue, create a brand new schedule all again for the month of September. Now, obviously, you'd normally set that for next year. So that is our maintenance scheduling for assets. So if we just want to have a quick recap, we've had a look at split jobs, we've had a look at projects, we've had a look at work plans, we've had a look at the maintenance scheduler for assets. So we have got a variety of tools that will help you to schedule your work. And if you're interested in any of those, then please give us a shout and ask. We can help you set your data up. We can run through some tutorials with you and give you a bit of support to help you get going. That's all the things I'd like to demonstrate today. We are taking a break from webinars in August. So also because it's the summer holidays, people are going to be off as well. We're not going to have as many people attending. So we're going to have a break for August, but we'll be back again on Friday, the 25th of September. At 10 o'clock, and that one is all about portals. We'll be running through the different portal access that we have available for clients. They can log in and have a look at the client portal. We've got a subcontractor portal, we've got an expenses portal, we've got one for apprentices, we've got the timesheet portal, which is a really useful thing if you've got people that you need to log their times against jobs and record labour on jobs. And we've also got a manager portal as well. So what I'll be doing is I'll be running through a demo of each of those to show you what they all do, how they'll benefit your organisation. Got people in your organisation that you think might be interested in that? Do let them know that that's coming up on the 25th of September. And before I forget, we have got our super user training. It's our first super user training session. We're plastering this all over LinkedIn at the moment. And if you're interested in becoming a super user, or you've got someone within your organisation that you would like to have trained up to become a MARKUS super user, then do get in touch with us to book on that. Thank you all very much for attending, and hope to see you on the next one in September.